We're recording. For those that are watching the recording, we've been just chit-chatting. Tonight's call is going to be a shorter call, and we're going to talk about emotion code. So we'll first, before we dive into the logistics of emotion code, just take a little bit and share. The three of us have all studied up on emotion code. There's a book. Brittany has it. Dr. Bradley Nelson is the person that created. And there's also an online training course with emotion code. Basically the premise, and you, both of you, if you, Helen and Britt, if you want to share your understanding of it, the way that I view emotion code is every part of the body processes a different emotion. And those, if you think about it, kind of like when you're stressed, this is how I interpret it. When you're stressed, your shoulders go up. That's the part of the body that stores that emotion. Ideally, when we experience an emotion, it comes into our body and then the energy releases. But then there are times in our life when that energy gets stuck. So the way that I think of this is, let's say when you're 7, your cat runs away and you experience feelings of abandonment. Your body's trying to process it. And then someone says, oh, it's just a cat. You're fine. Get over it. And all of a sudden your body's like, oh, I can't experience that. And it kind of stores there. So it becomes this like emotional stamp. Well, then after that, subsequent feelings of abandonment keep storing and that emotion gets stuck. Why is it interesting to do emotion code? In my perspective, I think doing emotion code offers us, if we have some sort of a physical health concern and we do an emotion code, sometimes we can see, oh, there's actually an underlying emotional component to that health concern. So I think it's a great tool. Helen or Britt, is there any?
What I'll add to it too is that it's not always just from our life experience too.
Oh,
it
yeah,
can be
cool.
even generational, passed down to us. Sometimes like just that mother or grandmother passed it down, or other times it can be 9+ generations that has been passed down. And there's been research around this to actually prove it scientifically when they researched Holocaust survivors, children, and 9/11 survivors, children. So they've like proved that DNA, the emotional component, passes down through DNA. So, but with that being said, you can also clear those trapped emotions if they're yours or something you got passed down.
Yeah.
And like my own experience with emotion code, I think it was the night I decided to do doTERRA as a business. So I'm like, it was the
monumental time.
And for me, my experience was I've always, in the last, however long, realized there is the physical and emotional component and like that they're all intertwined. It gave more validity to that. And for me, it allowed so much like freedom and forgiveness to my parents, because I was like blaming them. And then who doesn't? And then when this came out in my emotion code and I was like, some of these were 9 generations deep, and it gave me just this instant sense of forgiveness and acceptance of like my family. And I feel like no amount of money or anything else can compare to that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I had a similar experience with mine, and I just feel like it's so interesting to look at your parents as like from that perspective of like, oh, they were taught this, that everyone is doing the best. So I agree. So as far as emotion code, yeah, the premise is you identify the trapped emotions and then you release them. And then one of the things that the person that taught me how to do emotion code also incorporated in was testing, identifying which crystals and which essential oils help support the body in transitioning out of this emotional belief. So tonight we can talk about that as well and just share like a tool that you can do. So when would be an ideal time to do an emotion code session. You can have it done on by another person. I feel like it's a little bit more ideal to have somebody else do a reading on you, just because it's like, I think it's easy to change the results to what you want. Like you can have a biased outcome. I feel like, would you both agree to that? Like,
I agree with that too. And like I've done it on myself before, and I feel like it's still an effective tool, but it does like take the emotion and the bias out of it. One other thing I just wanted to mention before I forget. I listened to the book on Audible and I have the copy. I feel like it was really one of those ones that was good to listen to because it's a dense book. So I'm just like, I really like the audio component. Just wanted to mention that. But you want to have the book too, because the charts are in there.
Exactly. Yeah.
there, and I haven't gone through, that's actually on my list of 10 things that I want to get into action with. But there's an online, that certification course too. And that's cool because you get to like see and listen and watch him do it. But, okay. So anything else that either of you, from what you have read, you want to?
My other thing I will say too is the amount of awareness that it gives you for yourself. And just once you realize like whatever emotion that is, and you do release it, but then just like anything else in our life, like some habits die hard. And so once you're more aware that that is a theme in your life, it's like you pivot and it's like, all right, I'm not going to accept this anymore as my status quo.
So I'm going to share my screen just so we can have the emotion code chart in front of us. Can you see that okay?
Yeah.
So in an emotion code session, basically you are identifying any of these emotions that could be apparent or like trapped, and our body will only release the emotion that it's ready to during that session. So, if you're looking at this and you're like, oh my gosh, I have all of them, our body knows what it's ready to release first. So in an emotion code session, there's a set way of doing this, but these are the different emotions that could come up, and you would also identify the part of your body that has stored that emotion. And I've done sessions both ways. I've done it where someone comes in and they're like, I'm having pain in my shoulder. Can you target an emotion code session to that shoulder? I want to figure out what's going on. And then you can also do like a generic reading where you have you do this and just see what's there. And like for me, just now that to go against what I just said, if there is something showing up, I'll just do a quick scan on myself. So it is a great tool. Like Britt said, it definitely is something in a quick minute you can do with yourself to see what's going on. But I just think sometimes having somebody else show you your truth is helpful. So anything that you guys want to share about this before we get into logistics of it?
It is definitely in alignment with traditional Chinese medicine and like what organs store what emotions. And I feel like Dr. Bradley did a good job of like chakras and the meridians and the channels in the body, and like it all makes so much sense. Like I feel like he made like a renaissance of a bunch of different ancient and traditional knowing and stuff like that.
Agreed. And I don't know very much about all of the I don't know very much compared to like how much but I just feel like it from chakra understanding, because that is what I do feel like I have. That part makes sense to me. And I don't know much about the meridians. That is on my list of things that I want to learn more about. But cool. So the premise of emotion code testing is done through energy testing. And this is where I feel like some people are like, and I know for me, when I first started, I didn't have exposure to energy testing. And so I kept blowing my mind when the woman was doing it. I'm like, how do you, I don't understand. So there's a few different ways, and maybe I feel like the most prominent way that people have seen is muscle testing, where like you have somebody push down on your arm. There's also sway testing that you can use, where you stand, close your eyes, you ask a question, and your body leans one way for yes and one way for no. And then there's also, you can do this finger test where if you say yes, hold on, I got to do it this way. Yes, yes. So all you're doing is don't be dirty, anybody, but if you're just taking your finger and you're going against this lock right here, so where the two fingers connect, and you're pushing against. So yes, 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 no. All of a sudden this finger connection becomes loose. So yes, 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 no, yes, 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 yes. No, I said no in my subconscious. I didn't say it out loud. So that's just another way. But what I prefer to do is pendulum testing. And this, again, it's for me, I'm only just testing your body can channel into somebody's energy. So if you're doing pendulum testing, the pendulum sits still, and then you say yes, it goes in a circle, and then you say no, and it goes back and forth. So that might not show very well in the camera, but no.
It did.
It did?
It did.
Okay.
It really did. Yeah.
So I prefer that. I feel like it's just very easy. Like, I think this one, people can be like, oh, you're just opening up your fingers, whereas a pendulum, like my arm is on the desk, it's not moving. That's moving just because it's getting.
I
so there you
agree.
go.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
then you can
Yeah.
see. So
I start to get in my head with it too if I'm doing the muscle testing on myself. Like I'm like, am I pushing down? Because there's another one where you
oh yeah,
put
the
your
fingers. Yeah.
two fingers. So
Yeah.
pendulum for sure.
So yeah, I prefer to do the pendulum as well. And then so on a who wants me to use you as an example?
I'll volunteer as tribute,
You
but
want to be volunteers tribute? Okay. Is there a
I was gonna grab my magnet, but I can do that later. If you know.
oh yeah. Okay. I'll just do this, and then when I'm testing the oils, you can go grab it. How about that? So is there a certain spot of your body that you would want it to be done towards?
Yes, my right knee.
Okay.
We'll get specific.
Let's get specific. Cool. So if we then shift into looking at this chart, so I'll just show everybody how you would do. Okay, so Britt has a set intention of channeling her knee. So then I'm going to go to the pendulum and I'm going to say, can I channel Britt's energy? It's a very strong yes. Can we focus on her right knee? Very strong yes. So you're starting right off there. So for me, a yes is a circle, a back and forth is a no. So is there a strong emotional component? Now, a couple of things, the answer was yes on that, by the way. A couple of things that are important to know prior to this is you would ask the person, or ask for yourself, of who was a part of your childhood, like who raised you. So if there was a mom, a dad, a stepmom, a stepdad, that's all relevant information as far as inheriting emotions from them. So in this right knee, I happen to already know for Britt, or otherwise I would be asking her. So I'm going to do right knee. Okay. And then I just go through and I do, is it in an odd row? It's a no. Is it in an even row? It's a yes. So even row we have, is it row 2? No. Is it row 4? No. Is it row 6? Yes. Is it column A? No. Is it column B? Yes. Is it pride? No. Shame? No. Shock? Yes. Okay, so has shock stored in her right knee. Then I'm going to ask, is this inherited? Yes. From her mom? Yes. From her dad? No. Is it more than one generation? Yes. More than 2 generations? Yes. More than 3? Yes. More than 4? Yes. More than 5? No. So it's 5 generations back on her mom's side. And then does she have her own emotions attached to this? Yes. Was she more than 1, more than 2? So now we're going to find the age that she was when the shock experience happened. More than 1, more than 2, more than 3, more than 4, more than 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. More than 22 is a no. So she's somewhere in between 21 and 22. And then I'd ask, do we need more information on this to clear it? And it's a no. So she's ready to clear this one. And now I would, like, at this point, what I would be doing is just kind of like checking in. So, and essentially, whatever memory comes up, and we'll ask Britt in just a second, but there's no right or wrong way to clear this. So if Britt has a memory that immediately pops up that she was shocked about at 21, 22, then that's what her body is storing. Like whatever the first memory is, that's usually what is ready to be released. Is there something, you don't have to share, Britt, but
there is something. So, and Helen and I have a connection here too. So when Dylan passed away, that was at 21. So that was the first thing that came to my mind.
oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
I know.
So that gives me chills. Hold on.
I know. I'm like, my heart's pounding out of my chest when you said that.
Wow. 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 That just blows my mind. So this is where it is so interesting because I'm assuming your right knee has been bothering you?
Yeah, recently. Not something that's been bothering me since I was 21 though, or anything.
Right. But just it's acting up. So this is what I think is so cool about doing a motion code is maybe your knee is bothering you and you just do a quick thing and you're like, oh man, my body is trying to signal a message about this person. And then you can do the release work to let that energy pass out of the body. So Britt was mentioning she's going to go grab a magnet. If you want to do that right now, Britt, that's fine. And then our body remembers people's energy. So she's going to be stepped away. My body still knows her body's energy. So I can still do this while she's gone. So now what I'm going to do is pull up the oil list and I'm going to go through what oils her body's needing. So the first thing I am going to say is this a roller bottle? And it's a yes. Then I'm going to go through, is it an oil A through D? No. E through F? No. And I'm just randomly picking letters. It's whatever. There's no rhyme or reason, just going through the alphabet. Is it G through L? Yes. Geranium? Yes. So Britt, while you were gone, we just noted that this is a roller bottle combination. So you have geranium. Any other G through L? Yes. Is it ginger? Yes. Are there any others? Yeah. Lemon. Okay. So ginger and then lemongrass. Any others? Yes. Okay. Any oils? L through O? Yes. Lemon eucalyptus? No. Lime? No. Vanilla? Magnolia? Marjoram? Melissa? Oops. To move the Zoom window. Myrrh? No. Neroli? Yes. Oregano? No. Any other oils? No. Okay, so she has geranium, ginger, lemongrass, neroli. Then you're going to figure out how many drops. So for geranium, is it more than 5, more than 10, more than 15? No. More than 11, 12, 13, 14. So it's 14 drops of geranium. For ginger, more than 5, yes. More than 10, yes. More than 15, yes. More than 20, yes. More than 25, no. More than 21, 22, 23, 24. So 24 drops of ginger. Lemongrass, more than 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, no. 25, 26, 27, 28 drops of lemongrass. And then neroli, this would just be pulled out from the roller bottle. 5, 10, 15, 20, no. 16, 17, 18, 19 drops. So now she has a roller bottle combination, and then she can do, okay, does she apply it once, twice, 3 times? So it's 3 times a day for more than 1 week, 2 week, 3 weeks, for 3 weeks. So 3 times a day for 3 weeks. And then Britt, I'm going to stop sharing the screen. Do you want to show how to use your magnet?
Yes. So I'm trying not to touch it to any of my electronics here.
Yeah.
I have like, you can use any magnet you want, but I have like a magnet I got from a crystal shop. And you want to go, I think it's the governing vessel of your body, which is a meridian. So it's like starts just above your lip and it goes up and around the crown of your head and then right to the base of your neck. So if you can't reach it because it hurts to go over, you could always just do your lower back because it's still part of the meridian. But so you'll just go 3 times, actually 10, right? Because it's inherited.
Mm-hmm.
So 1, 2, 3. And I'm just going like super close to my head, but I'm not touching my head.
This
Not
is
that I think it matters.
This is the part. So when I first did this, when I did my first session, I was like, a magnet, what? And then I did it and my lips went tingly. My head felt weird. And I was like, what in the heck it was very cool.
I think I did it 10 times. So I'm going to do it 1 more for good measure.
Perfect. So then for this, then she would go back through, like if she was doing this on herself or if this was a session, then you go back through and you do the same thing on that chart. Okay, are there more emotions associated to her right knee? It would either, I'll just show you. Let's see. Are there more emotions associated to her right knee? Yes. So the session would keep going. If this was a no, it would stop and we don't have to go through the whole thing, but just now so that everyone can kind of see, okay, that's how you can emotion code yourself. And that chart, if you just go on and Google emotion code chart, you can pull it right up and you can practice around with it. And then as far as getting a pendulum, we were just talking about that before we started recording. You can go to like a crystal shop. I would suggest going somewhere in person rather than getting one online because you can hold them up. Like this pendulum works very well for my body. Like that's a very strong yes, no, yes. Like it is very strong for my body. But some of them, when I was holding them, it didn't do anything. Did you guys have the same experience or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have this one that's really pretty that I like want it to want me. And it literally wants nothing to do with me. And I'm not trying to sound like a crazy person, but like it fell out of my pocket and broke and everything. So it's just not meant to be my pendulum.
Wow.
But it's really pretty.
That's great.
I know. I'm like, I
just
didn't
jumped away
choose this life to be this witch. It chose me.
The other thing that we were saying too is if you have a necklace that has a pendulum, like I have even done it with like a memory stick from the computer in a pinch when I couldn't find my pendulum, like, you know how it goes on the thing and you just, as long as it's something with a heavy here, I have found that it can work. So just start picking up chains and lockets around the house. So then that would be the roller bottle that Britt would use. And then I have also started incorporating for myself, is there a symphony of the cells protocol that would best support this? And then going through the symphony of the cells protocols. And then I've also asked the question of so I would say something like, is this a roller bottle combination? If it's a no, I would say, is this a symphony of the cells protocol? If it's a no, then I would say, is this a diffuser blend? And then it's a yes. But the premise of using, regardless of if it's an emotion code session or not, the premise of using a pendulum to test for things until you have that knowing, like now I feel like I feel it, so I can just kind of go through an oil list and feel what one I need. But until you have that sense, you can just go through and be like, okay, what oil do I need today? And then zip through and find it. The other thing that I like to do when it comes to an emotion code session is pair it with the emotions book. I don't have mine right next to me, but so the first one for Britt was geranium. So then I like to go in and look up geranium because I feel like there's a stronger message in there that really brings it in. Geranium, oh, this is sad, knowing what you just shared. Geranium is the oil of love and trust. Geranium restores confidence in the innate goodness of others and in the world. It facilitates trust, especially when individuals have lost trust in others due to difficult life circumstances. It also assists in reestablishing a strong bond to one's mother and father. When there has been a loss of trust in relationship, geranium encourages emotional honesty, love, and forgiveness. Geranium is a gentle oil, perfect for babies and children. Emotions addressed: abandoned, lost, distrusting, unforgiving, unloving, disheartened, heavy-hearted, grieving, healing, empathetic, traumatized, forgiving. There's a whole list of it. But I think that this is such an interesting addition to doing an emotion code, because then you can really get that emotional connection to, like, Britt, I'm sure, but as I was reading that, you're like thinking through different things of why that oil is coming up. And I just feel like during sessions, I feel like that's when people cry, is when they read that. And then they're like, oh. So anyway, what do you both want to add in on that?
Oh, nothing really. I'm like, this is all really spot on. And I just think it's such a great tool though. And like, it can be super sad to bring this stuff up, but I think it's worse to have that
Store it in there.
just built up and waiting to explode, right?
Right. And also to show up to doing this without judgment on ourselves. Like we all are processing all of these emotions. So it's not like, oh man, I can't believe that one showed up or whatever. Like, no, our body is there's no judgment on it. Like there's one in there that's worthless, and the emotion is worthless. And I feel like when people see that one, they're immediately like get defensive, like, oh, I can't believe that showed up. Like there's something wrong with me or whatever. And I just feel like if we can do an emotion code session with ourselves, or with, have it done for ourselves without that judgment, and to just like, holy crap, my body's been holding on to that for whatever, 32 years is what it would be for me, 32 years. And like, I'm ready to let that shit go. So anyways.
Well, and in my first one, I think it was something so silly from when I was 9 years old that was like nothing. But at 9 years old, like you said, with losing your cat or whatever, like it is a big deal when you're that age.
Yeah. And you can't imagine that you would still be holding it after all these years. But it's true. And the fact that you can do it, not only do it, but you can do it on Zoom and be spot on.
I know.
Blows my mind.
You're crazy. That also, and this is a tangent, but that also to me is like, what is our body capable of doing? We can be this far apart and still channel in on each other's energy. That is phenomenal to me. And I think for me, it like writes at home, not to go on a soapbox, but how disruptive social media can be when we're just scrolling through and seeing all of these people who we're connected to energetically, and like, that's just a lot of energy that our body is processing. But
Yeah.
the other thing that I wanted to share is, have you ever heard about when a person gets hypnotized, they could go back, like the hypnotist could bring them back to first grade on February 17th. And while you're hypnotized, you can say, like, look around the classroom of your school and say what everyone was wearing and who was there, and like
My goodness.
the cup. So that blows my mind, because our subconscious is like, I don't know, it's just capable of remembering so much stuff that stamps us that we don't even remember, but our subconscious does. And like,
Yeah.
it can
And they
remember
tested in the book with the subconscious. People didn't know they had like 2 gummies, and one was the high quality vitamin C, and the other one was just a sugar pill or something, or like, and our subconscious knew the difference.
I don't remember that from the book.
Yeah,
That's cool.
That's how they like tested the subconscious of people. So like, how would you know? But your subconscious knows.
Wow. So you can do muscle testing for, maybe you guys, I'm sure probably already know this, but maybe somebody that's listening to the recording doesn't know this. Like, you can do this with vitamins. Like, there's people that do nutrition testing, and you hold a vitamin and then you're like, is this good for me? Yes or no. I know people do that with their food too. I'm not there yet, but like, is this food good for me right now? Yes or no. And make their food choices based off of that. So a whole
Wow,
world.
Well,
That's
I love it. And thank you for doing this.
Yes,
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, absolutely. My thoughts are that if we all do this to ourselves a little bit more, we could all release some stuff.
Yeah. Oh, one last thing I wanted to mention. You can do this for pets too. So just like people, you always want to make sure you get the permission. So you would just get the permission from whoever owns the pet, or by asking the pet. And I did this the other day on my dog, and he had so many inherited emotions. And I feel like such a jerk that I've been holding back on this. It's the first time I ever did it to him.
I've never done it to the dogs.
And
Yeah.
so what are you doing to help him release those, Brittany? That's interesting.
I did the magnet on him.
Oh,
afterwards.
cool.
Mm-hmm. So
And what was his response?
he just laid there, probably mudded. No, he seemed really relaxed. He's been relaxed ever since, but he's an old dog. I wish I had tapped into this earlier with him, but that's, tool we have forever now.
Better late than never. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right, ladies. Well, thanks for all sharing
Yeah,
your
thank you.
words
Thank
of
you.
wisdom. Anything else that you want to share before we hop off?
I don't think so. Thank you.
Okay.
right.
Yes, thank you. See you guys later.
Thank you.
Good
Yeah,
night.
bye.
Bye.